we are talking today about planning and organizing your homeschool, mostly because I am offering the old version of my book, 50% off plus shipping. This is the new version. The only real difference is that this one's shiny and this one has a matte finish, and this one links to form guides at a Charlotte Mason plenary. This one links to the curriculum guide bundle that on my website that we made in conjunction with the Charlotte Mason plenary. They're not that different. The only reason that I'm getting rid of the last of the old stock is just because when I go to a conference, I always take the new stock. So that's the difference, and you can get one for 50% off plus shipping. So I thought I would go ahead and talk about planning and organizing your homeschool. We had planned on sending our kids to public school originally because I had worked at public schools. That was our plan. Then when our children were born, I realized that they learned a lot like me, and I had sat on many IEP meetings in schools, and I kind of had an idea of what they were headed for. And I knew my daughter would be pulled out a lot for reading and writing and math, and I just didn't want that for her. I didn't want her to constantly be pulled out to work on things that she wasn't good at. I wanted her to be able to focus on things that she was good at. I mean, yes, let's still try to strengthen our weak areas, but let's also enjoy the things that we are good at. And so that's really what drove us to homeschool in the first place. When I first started homeschooling, I had no idea what I was doing, despite the fact that I have letters after my name saying that I'm supposed to know how to educate a child. But I had never homeschooled before. And I was a school psychologist. I wasn't a teacher. So, and honestly, in the homeschool world, we like to say that it's probably harder to homeschool as a teacher than anyone else because you have to completely rethink how you do education because you're not in a school. And that can be a bit of a challenge. So I was trying to make use of all these different homeschooling curriculums, and they weren't a total fit for my kids, so I was having to make adjustments because homeschool curriculums, like any form of curriculum, is based on the average student. No curriculum is going to be a perfect fit for any child except for maybe the one child it was made for. So that was very challenging. And then also a lot of the curriculums, I mean, think about it. If you're going to write curriculum, you're probably going to be a fairly organized type A type person, you know? All right, here's how we're going to do it. And I, out of 12 executive functioning skills, had 3. So I felt like I was spending more time trying to make it happen than I was actually making it happen. And I realized very quickly that I needed another option. And so this is actually the system that I came up with, that I've used in our homeschool for a long time. My kids will have their last year of homeschooling next year, and after that they will begin taking college classes. So it works all the way up, kindergarten all the way to seniors, or even preschool if you want. So it's got 3 easy steps. The first step is measuring where you are. So when I'm working with my kids, I like to test them every single year because I like to know where they are. Yes, as their parent, I have a pretty good idea of where they are, but every once in a while there's something that surprises me, or that maybe it's an underlying problem that hasn't become a big enough problem for me to notice it yet. So I like to test them every single year. We also have to do a portfolio for our state, so it's a great opportunity to include something in our portfolio. This is an example of the tests. So I do it at the end of every single year. So I take the one from the end of the previous year and then compare it to the one at the end of this year. And so that way I have a pre-post and I don't have to collect a lot of stuff throughout the year. That was one of the things that was causing me trouble. How do you collect stuff to represent what you've done in homeschooling this year? So having a method of collection that was pre-post that only required me to remember once a year was huge. And I also did some measurement of their reading and math fluency, and the instructions on how to do this is actually in the back of this booklet. It's free. It doesn't involve anything else except for following the instructions. And it gives you an idea of, okay, how are we really doing with math fluency? Because math fluency becomes really important as we get older and get into more challenging math, because it just makes it a lot harder to do math that has multiple steps when the smaller steps are causing us trouble. I take a writing sample each year. Well, that was handwriting. This is actual writing. We do a sampling of arts and handicrafts, a sampling of life skills. This is just something I collect once a year. Hebrew, and that was it. So once a year, I collect a sampling of what they've done so that I can compare it to the next year. And it's usually kind of mostly skill-based, not so much curriculum. With the curriculum, I do include a list of what all we've done. So when it comes to planning your year, that's my step 2. So that 1 week out of the year, during the week, I spend time collecting, testing, and just samples of my kids' work. And then on the weekend, used to be I'd go out to the pool or something and like plan my curriculum, and then I became allergic to the sun, so I quit doing that. But when I plan my curriculum, a lot of times I do start with the form guides at a Charlotte Mason Plenary. I like them because they list all the different subjects, and then you can kind of go through, and it gives ideas of how to use books and things that you already have to go ahead and teach your kid these different subjects. Things you've got at the library, things that are free online maybe. And so I start with that, and I go through each of the subjects and kind of think, okay, what will we teach for this? The other thing I do, though, is that at the end of the year, I quiz my kids. I'm like, okay, rank how you liked math this year on a scale of 1 to 10. Rank how you liked history on a scale of 1 to 10. I want to get as many 10s as possible. And so if I have several subjects that are really low, I might try a new strategy with one of them. And if that one works well, then I'll try adding another subject in later using a different strategy, because I'm trying to find a way that they love learning. I actually had to do this, I remember very specifically one year. History was not a 10. It was at the bottom of the barrel. And so I realized that they liked stories, so I switched them to historical fiction, and they loved it. Nowadays we can do a textbook and it's not a big deal because they already love the subject. So there were several things like that where I would go through a subject and problem solve it and kind of go, okay, this isn't working. What else might work based on what I know about my kids? And then I would just make a brain dump list of books and videos and anything I wanted to use for those different subjects and put it on a sheet like this. And then as we went through the year, if we did them, I would mark them off. And if we didn't do them and decided to take that one out, then I'd scratch that in. If I wanted to add something in, then I'd write it in. And so it kind of gave me a sheet that I was able to hang on to. And I actually don't hang on to the physical copy. I keep it on my computer because I'm less likely to lose my computer than I am a piece of paper. And so that's kind of how I did it. It's kind of like planning from behind. You get an idea of what you want to do, and then just give yourself a brainstorm list so that you don't forget things you might want to do, and then just adjust it as you go depending on how things go, because it's kind of hard to predict how a year is going to go, especially when you're homeschooling, because you school where you live, and life definitely has an impact on how we do school. And quite honestly, it's a good thing, because it can be really difficult on kids when they're going through some kind of difficult situation sometimes to still have a lot of expectations placed on them. It can feel overwhelming. So it's a nice opportunity that we have as homeschoolers to be able to adjust our schedule to fit the needs of our family in whatever season we're in. So I love the Charlotte Mason form guides mostly because I wrote a developmental guide to go with them. And when you go through the developmental guide, it kind of explains to you what we're looking for in development in different categories. And if you never took human growth and development or anything like that, then that might be really helpful to you. And then it also goes through and talks about how we can make adjustments depending on how a child's development is going. So step 3 is organizing for success. And in that one, I included some sample checklists that I've used in my house. And you could very easily copy them and use them yourself if you wanted to, or you can make your own. And then finally, at the back of the book, we have information about how to do curriculum-based measurement, as well as the templates for the different kinds of schedules and curriculum lists. So it really kind of walks you through the whole process that I created. The reason I wrote the book is actually because our local homeschool evaluator said, "This is amazing. You should make a book of this so that other parents can do the same thing." Because it's not like you're really given, this is how you should evaluate your homeschool. This is how you should document your portfolio. There isn't really a way to, like, there's no set way to do that. And I mean, in some ways that's good because it gives you a lot of room for creativity. But this way, like, we're really making sure that we're evaluating growth over time in our kids, because they are constantly changing and growing. So anyways, if you would like one of the old copies, 50% off plus shipping, send me a message on Facebook or go to the website, send me an email, and let me know, and we will get it taken care of. You will not find this on the website because I only have a few copies left. I don't have many. So go ahead and send me a message, and hopefully you will really enjoy it. It has definitely been a lifesaver in our house because none of us have executive functioning skills. Not many anyways, and it really is a challenge at times to kind of keep up with all of the different things that we want to share with our children, and to make sure that we're watching for their growth and development and supporting that as well as we can. So thanks for joining me today.